Hello, hello, hello again, lovely humans. We're back again. You guys haven't gotten tired of us, so thanks. I'm so very proud of us for that. Pat on the back.
Although we must say, Gina can't read her own handwriting.
And I wear glasses. It's not that I can't read my own handwriting.
Almighty.
It's that I don't pay attention sometimes to what I wrote.
So this is actually episode
8. I misnumbered them. So our NFL draft show was episode 5, and I said 6, and it just threw us out of whack for everything. So NFL draft was 5. Baseball positions was 6. Hockey last week was 7. And this is episode 8 about the NBA playoffs. There. Housekeeping done. I apologize.
Mm-hmm.
Can I live that down now? Go ahead. Taking that bell. One day he's going to come in here. It's just not going to be here anymore. It's going to be like that shirt I borrowed from him that he didn't know I borrowed.
Hey,
We got to go down that route again. You know.
I still have a shirt from my high school boyfriend that I borrowed. It's
See?
a fabulous hoodie.
It's a commonplace
Incredibly
thing
warm.
to do. Don't do it.
Don't do it.
Put the mallet down. So anyway,
Welcome
welcome back
to
to Wait, What? Sports. Oh, come on. You did it last time.
Aw.
Want us to do it again?
No.
I was so excited.
What?
It was such
What's
a beautiful
going on over here?
It was such a beautiful harmony of voices. Come on, do it for me, please.
No.
Aw.
That's okay. He just lost some
Such
brow.
a party pooper.
You're a party pooper. You're crashing our party. If you weren't on the boards, you'd be uninvited. That's the only reason you're useful right now.
So anyways, NBA playoffs.
Yes. Oh, wait, we gotta do it. I'm Gina.
I'm Amy.
Go ahead.
I'm Dr. Robinson.
Paging Dr. Robinson.
Paging Dr. Robinson.
Yes, hello.
To the OR, please.
Oh, please, dear God, no.
You don't want him to operate on your brain. What? Come on now. All right, so NBA playoffs. It's that time of year again, people.
It is. And the NBA playoffs, for some reason, seem to take forever.
They legitly do. I'm always like, so did I miss the finals?
They start this weekend that we're recording. So we're recording on the 15th.
Mm-hmm.
They officially start on the 16th. The Cavs are in the last play-in game tonight.
Right.
If they win, we play.
If not, our season's done.
Yep. But either way, NBA playoffs start on the 16th.
So when do the finals start?
So
How far out are they?
Usually the first week in June.
Dang, and this is only April 15th?
Yes.
yes. So there's 7 games in each round.
And 4 rounds.
4 rounds, and they take at least a day between games for the most part.
I mean, you kind of need that rest period. So, okay, what's longer, the NBA playoffs or the MLB playoffs?
MLB, I think.
Yeah, the MLB, because the MLB goes from like the first week in October
To the middle of November.
to the middle of November.
But they also do so they have a wild card series
Yes.
instead of a game. So it's
Okay.
3 games in that wild card series.
So that's what makes it draw out a little bit longer.
And then it's 5 games in up to the division series, and then the division series and the World Series are 7 games.
Oh, okay.
So
Gotcha.
it's more of a tiered thing. They also have more time in between. If you're talking about teams going from coast to coast,
Mm-hmm.
they have an extra day of rest. And
Yeah.
things like that.
Jet lag.
They have a much and again, baseball's a slower sport in general.
True.
So, but yes, the NBA playoffs, 4 rounds, 7 games each, 8 teams in the East, 8 teams in the West.
Okay.
I am sorry, I did not look up which teams are in and which teams are out.
We can do
Because
that.
all I was caring about was, did my Cavaliers
Actually make it. Which we still don't know.
which we will find out tonight.
So, okay, sidebar. Eli, do you think the Cavs have a chance of making it this year? Who do they play tonight?
They play the Atlanta Hawks.
Are the Hawks good this year?
Yes, they are. And in order the Cavs to win tonight, they have to stop. Oh crap! I forgot his name. They got to stop their main player, Trae Young.
Well, and here's the other thing is that the Cavs were plagued by
Injuries,
for
correct.
the last
That's
month,
true.
and we still don't have everybody back.
Well, Jared Allen is going to be playing tonight.
Is he?
Okay.
Yeah, he will be playing tonight through the that finger injury.
So Garland's playing, Mobley's playing,
Allen's
playing. Is Kevin Love okay?
Yes. Yeah, he's okay.
Okay. I always got to
yeah.
check on Love because
Well-
you just never know.
Well, he comes off the bench too. So.
True.
But it's unfortunate because we were on track to actually have a better berth.
Yeah.
And to actually be, but unfortunately, as always happens in Cleveland, the injury bug got us.
I feel like that's just the Cleveland curse for almost every sport, whether it's major league, minor league.
The injury bug just it likes to bite.
So as of this recording, April 15th, so far,
Well, everybody should be in except for the Cavs, the Hawks. There's two other teams.
The Cavs, the Hawks, the Hornets lost because they played 9 versus 10 played, so the Hornets are out. The Brooklyn Nets is in because they beat us, so it's
Okay.
between us and Atlanta.
so we're the last of the
on-
Mohicans.
Right,
In the Eastern Conference.
In the
and
Eastern
in the Western Conference, there's another two teams that are doing their.
right.
Oh, and that's all tonight. Okay.
yeah, the
Tonight.
Clippers and the Pelicans.
Mhm.
Gotcha. Okay.
So
Okay. So
everybody else that was, everybody else is
Oops.
set except for those 4 teams.
okay.
So, I'm not certain how you want to go about this. Do
Let
you
me
want to
see.
start with positions?
Yes. I mean, I just feel like you got to know who's on the court because everything else kind of centers off of that. So let's go there. Let's start with the positions that are on the court. And I will say, Eli, you feel free to laugh at me. We had a slight, not a debate, but a conversation. Because in my head, when I think offense and defense, like football, you have offensive players and defensive players. I was like, so there's an offensive basketball 5 and a defensive basketball 5, right? And Amy was like, no.
They're the same
It's all the
players.
same players.
The same players running up and down the court, up and down the court.
They do offense and defense. So I will say I was ignorant to that fact. I don't know why I thought that because I've never seen them switch out, except for like a substitution here and there.
And she goes to the games all the time.
I do. I don't. That's besides the point. Back to.
So anyway,
Let me remind you, she is a Boston Celtics and a San Antonio a Spurs fan. So we hate the Spurs and we hate the Celtics in there. Okay, I'm
So
done.
anyways, it doesn't matter quite as much because some of our listeners, and hopefully most of our listeners, are not necessarily Clevelanders.
True.
So, she may have some people out there who love the fact that she's a Spurs fan.
Ha.
I'm
I know.
just saying,
I know
Eli.
one.
Doggone it, I hate the Spurs. That 07 finals. God doggone.
You know what? It's 2022. Get over it. There you go.
That's like me saying I hate the Bulls because they had Michael Jordan and he kept beating us.
Right.
Or, me saying that I hate the Broncos. Well, I do still hate the Broncos for what they did to us in the 80s. In football.
There's
But
still,
anyways.
there's still some bitterness there.
Stupid Elway. Anyway.
So positions. Oh, I want to go. Can I do it? Because I think I know all of them. Because again, my ignorance showed here. We have the center, which is, I'll start with him because he's the big man.
Well, and let me just say, basketball's not my real sport. Like, I don't really watch it. You watch more of it than I do.
Yeah.
But I have, done the research and figured out who is what and whatever.
Right.
So, yes. So, I'm almost as ignorant, except I've got a list of notes.
And I'm trying not to cheat for this part. Now, the rest of it, I'll probably have to cheat. But I know you have the center. You have your power forward, your small forward, your shooting guard, and your point guard.
Mhm.
Yes?
Yes.
Yeah? Woohoo! Now, the rest, I will not be able to help you with.
Okay. So, I want to say that the information on the player positions,
Mhm.
I actually pulled off of a site that I had no idea there was. The junior NBA is actually a partnership that the NBA has with some little league basketball teams. So like the YMCA, when Gina and I worked there with them, they actually had junior Cavs leagues.
Yes.
And that was part of the junior NBA initiative. I did not realize that they actually have a website set up for coaches.
That's crazy.
To teach, you know, volunteer coaches about the different positions and different drills they can run with the kids and everything else. Had no clue.
I'm glad that resources exist, though.
But so I actually pulled all of this information from them, modified slightly, because I put them into kind of more of my words.
Yeah.
So, but that's part of the reason why they are going to be overly simplified definitions of what these player positions
It's perfect.
are.
It's perfect.
Okay. I'm looking at you, Eli. Okay. So we'll start with the center.
Yes.
As you pointed out, generally speaking, they'll call him the big man.
Mm-hmm.
He is the biggest and tallest player on the team in general. Okay. Playing defense, he guards the basket and tries for rebounds. Okay. Playing offense, he takes close shots and rebounds.
Okay.
Okay. So because he's the biggest and tallest, he's the one that can like generally touch
The
hoop
rim.
without
At least
having
the
to
net.
jump.
Right.
Okay. So then we will move to the power forward.
Okay. I know nothing about this position.
It's similar to the center in hockey and soccer. But and it's similar to the center in basketball, except that he takes the offensive shots that are further away. So
Okay.
he's usually your second tallest kid on the team.
Okay.
Then we'll move to the point guard. Your point guard runs the offense,
Okay.
according to Junior NBA. He usually, when you're hearing somebody shout out instructions to the other people on the team,
It's the point
It's
guard.
it's usually the point guard.
Okay.
He's trying to direct traffic.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Okay.
He's usually your best dribbler and your best passer.
Okay.
So you can basically call him the facilitator.
Right. So,
Okay.
and then he guards against the opposing point guard,
Mm-hmm.
and he tries to steal the ball.
Okay.
Okay.
You got a lot of roles.
Well, they all do.
I mean, yeah, that's true. But
So, your shooting guard, he's generally your best shooter. This is like your Steph Curry. Okay.
yeah.
He's your best shooter. He makes the long shots. He's a good dribbler.
Yeah, right. I mean, yeah.
You can't
yeah.
argue any of those points.
Oh,
I don't
no.
even like the man.
Oh no, no, no! I'm not.
Okay?
I'm not arguing. I'm not arguing with the points or not. But basically, the shooting guard is more like a slasher, so he can slash to the rim or whatnot.
See,
Yeah.
you're using terms like slash, and I'm looking
Well,
at you like,
and
what are you talking about?
We're simple terms, and we're not done
Sorry.
yet.
Bring it down. Bring it back.
According to the Junior NBA, your small forward is your Swiss utility knife of players. He does everything.
Really?
He can shoot from further away, but he can also run up and do a layup and all the other stuff. He can do a little bit of everything, and he's usually a little bit of everywhere. And all of these, as far as like the defensive moves go on this, I'm certain is that because most of the time when you're talking about the Junior NBA, you are going to be talking about man-on-man defense and not
Right.
zone. And we're not even going to get into the difference between those, except to say man-on-man is what it means. You have a man, you guard that man.
That
You
is
have a
your
position,
person.
That is your person. That is your position to guard.
Right.
Okay. When you're in zone, you stand in a spot, you stand in an area, and you cover that area.
Basically, you're
Gotcha.
you're covering the perimeter of the basket. Like,
So
Okay.
you're covering an area.
So I
of
might
where
be
you're-
over on the right side, and that's my zone
Right,
to cover.
right.
No matter who comes up in that area, that's me.
right,
Right.
and is actually, if you're on defense and I'm on offense, it's better for me on offense to break that zone. How do you break the zone? You get you shoot threes.
Because I'm only in that
Right.
area. So if you're out here
Right.
shooting, I
you
can't
gotta
come
have
get you.
you gotta have shooters on the outside.
So, and the thing is, that, like, when you're on man to man, and you'll know the difference because if you're watching, if it's man on man, then you've got, you'll see the defensive players moving all around the court.
So they're going to be like, no matter where that other guy goes, that's their shadow. They're their shadow, essentially.
Yes.
Okay, I've seen that. Now that I know what to call it.
So
Cool.
now we'll go into again the basic parts of the court.
Yes, because they use those court terms constantly.
Well, and there are things that we like. Even as we were making out lists, we weren't certain if they were the same part or different parts or whatever. And so, in doing the research, you're like, okay, these are the same parts, or these are two different parts, or whatever. Again, some of this was pulled from Junior NBA.
Okay.
Some of it actually I found on a site. It was Rookie something, but it was basically a site for basketball to learn how to play basketball.
Okay.
And I don't think I still have it up here.
There's such a plethora. It's amazing how many resources are available, but how hard it can be to decipher, cipher through all that stuff, or I should say sift through all that stuff and find just the basic stuff.
And what we're going to try to do is we're going to try to find a good picture
of the court.
Diagram of the court that has a lot of these things laid out for you.
Yeah.
So, parts of the court. Do you want to try to name some parts of the court, G?
I'll name the ones I know. So, here we go.
Well, why don't you throw one out and we'll discuss.
Okay, so the one I hear all the time, the paint.
Which they will call it the paint on the broadcast, but it's actually the same thing as the key.
Are they one and the same?
They are one and the same.
The way they describe it, I always thought it was different.
So the painted area underneath the basket, that square,
yeah,
that is the key. That's also, when you do something from the key, you are doing it in the paint. Because it's the painted area.
Got so much logic to it.
You should see her face, people.
I feel so behind. Why was that a complicated concept for me?
I was fairly certain they were one and the same, but I did have to double check because I was like, aren't they the same? Now, one of my cousins played basketball in college and she was great at it.
Yeah.
So I kind of was like, I feel like I remember hearing that they're the same thing. I don't always remember things, but yeah. So, next one.
Key and paint, same thing. That painted area. Okay, I got it. Next one is the 3-point line.
3-point line. It's that arc of a line that goes almost from sideline to sideline.
Okay.
Arcs over the key. And that's where they can shoot 3-pointers. So if you shoot from beyond that line, it's 3 points. If you're inside of that line, it's 2.
Got it. And Eli, you might know this. I'm probably getting a bit too specific, but I'm just curious. If you're on the line, if your foot's on the line, how does that work? Is that still considered a 3?
No. If your foot is on the line of the perimeter, then that's a 2-pointer.
And the perimeter you're talking about is that 3-point line.
Right.
Okay.
Right. So it's very picky because it's you can have your toe touching it, but you can't have the whole ball of your foot and things like that.
It's kind of like tennis.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. It probably just depends on the referee too.
That
wasn't out. Okay, next one I know, backcourt.
Backcourt. The backcourt is the defensive half of the court.
Okay.
So whatever basket your team is defending, right side, left side of the court, whatever. When they are on the side of the court that they are trying to get a basket into, the offensive end.
Right.
The other side is called the backcourt.
Got it. Okay.
Okay. So that's where they would be on defense. There are violations that they can be penalized for.
I've heard backcourt violation before.
So let me go into that.
Okay.
Because I figured this is where we need to talk about that. So there are actually 2 different types of violations that qualify as a backcourt violation.
Okay.
They're both offensive violations.
So the team that's
playing offense.
to score.
Yes.
Okay.
They can have a backcourt violation. So the first one is the 8-second rule.
What is
Have
the
you
8
ever
second
heard of the
rule?
8-second rule?
Absolutely not.
The
Did my face
8-second
not
rule-
say it?
The 8-second rule, or 10 seconds, depending NBA, WNBA, college, high school, is the time allowed to move past the half-court line on any turnover of the ball.
Oh.
So when you get the ball on your end of the court,
Yeah.
the end that you're defending, you have 8 seconds in the NBA
Oh.
to get it to the half-court line and beyond.
I did not know that.
The other violation is called the over and back rule.
So are you going over the half court
Gone
line and coming
over
back?
and come back across. Once you cross the half court line in that 8 seconds,
Mm-hmm.
no part of the ball or a player is allowed to move beyond the half court line. That being a player that has in contact with the ball,
right,
or playing for the ball, is allowed back over the half court line again.
I guess that makes sense, because if you think about, like, if you only, like, just ran back and forth, you would never actually get the ball down court, first of all, and it would be difficult for the defensive team to do anything, because they're near their hoop at that point.
Right. So the whole idea is that you basically are only playing half court ball at any point in time.
Right.
As far as the actual action goes.
Mm-hmm.
Because not a whole lot of action happens when you're running back and forth.
True. Maybe some passing.
Right. I mean, in my head, all I see is when Z used to play and how, like, tired he would look by halftime running up and down the court. Like, he'd be, like, strolling down the court.
All right, like, I'll get there.
Because he just knew that, like, chances were by the time he got halfway down,
it was coming back
the other way. But that's the backcourt. It's a little bit of a harder thing to wrap your mind around until you're, like, looking at the court.
Right.
And looking at people
But it's
play.
essentially the area where there's no action going on.
Right.
Got it.
The opposite end of the court from action.
Okay. All right. So we got the paint. We got the 3-point line. We got the backcourt. Okay. Now I'm starting to lose it. Okay. Let's go to baselines.
Okay. So the baselines are part of the bound lines around the actual court.
Okay. So that thick white line.
Or black or whatever.
Whatever color. Okay.
Yeah. So that thick line that's around the sides and the back are the bound lines.
Mm-hmm.
The base lines are the ones that are underneath the baskets.
Oh.
And the side lines are the ones that go along the long side of the court.
So they're not all one and the same.
Right. The court is not square. The court is... And it's because they actually have different areas where you can do, like, the throw-ins and things.
Okay. So baseline is behind the basket, that thick line behind the basket.
Mm-hmm.
Side lines are on the side.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that makes sense. So then we have, let's get into a little bit of the free throws.
Yes, free throw lines, which I can never actually say. It always sounds weird.
Because it doesn't flow off your tongue.
I get
easy.
very tongue-tied with it.
Throw.
Free throw, not three throw. Free throw line. Okay? So, at the top of the key,
mm-hmm.
there's a line that has like a little dashed circle.
Yes.
That goes into the paint, and a more solid line of a circle that comes above the key.
I'm picturing it in my head, yes.
Okay, so that line where that circle is divided in half is your free throw line.
Okay, so that's where you shoot from when you get a foul, or you get fouled.
Right, when you get fouled and they give you free throws,
mm-hmm.
You shoot from there.
Okay.
The circle is where you have to be in. You have to, like, be within the circle.
Oh.
Which I never knew, just playing.
Yeah.
But, like, when we started looking at the court outlines and stuff, we were like, this is an actual thing.
Right.
But yeah, you have to be kind of like in the circle, but your toes have to be behind the line when you shoot.
Okay. So what's the dotted line for, I wonder?
So that's the front of that circle. So, like, you can't really be in front of it. You can't, but, like, so I guess
it's essentially
my guess
just a
is, like,
boundary.
some of the taller guys might, like, bend over to dribble the ball, and it would be outside of that.
Oh, so you have to dribble and everything within that little circle,
Right,
and you shoot from behind.
Yeah, it's a restricted area.
Yeah, restricted area. Okay, so everything for the free throw has to happen within this little boundary, but you have to be behind the free throw line to actually shoot your shot.
Mm-hmm.
Got it. Because I noticed it. You know how you noticed it, but you didn't notice it?
Mm-hmm.
That's exactly how that was for me. And then, is there names for the little boxes that the players stand in during a free throw?
Yes. So those are the lane lines.
Lane line. I couldn't remember what they were called. Lane lines. Okay.
So when you see the players lined up on either side,
mm-hmm.
is a lane line. And there actually is, like, a procedure for which team members stand where and whatever. We won't get into that.
I am impressed right now.
Are you?
I am impressed. The doctor is impressed with both of you guys.
I mean, why did it take you this long to be impressed, though? Hello.
We're awesome.
It should have been from episode 1.
You know what? I'm on.
Ding yourself? Yeah, you should. We forgive you, though, because you're in control of the boards.
Okay, so kind of when we were talking about the backcourt, we talked about the half-court line.
Yes.
So that literally is the line through the middle of the court.
Mm-hmm.
There's usually the emblem of the team or whatever, usually in the middle of that. And that's generally where they do the tip-offs.
Okay.
And the only other thing we didn't talk about were the substitution boxes, which you wanted to make sure we said something about. Because I don't pay enough attention. I will be honest.
Now you sound like me.
Look, I told you in the first episode, basketball moved too fast for me. I was a basketball cheerleader. It really annoyed me. I hated the fact that, like, all of our cheers were spelling something out. And we would get, like, 3 letters into offense, and then we would be on defense.
Oh.
Okay? It really annoyed me because I was like, O-F-D-E-O-F.
Oh, I quit.
Exactly. I'm sorry.
Here I am sounding like I'm all hooked on phonics.
Eli is over there having a conniption because of this, too.
You get annoyed, too, if you were halfway, not even halfway through, 2 letters into a word that is, 7 letters long?
I was always sitting there going, can we just cheer be aggressive, please?
Be aggressive. Be aggressive.
B-E-A-G-G-R-E-S-S-I-V-E-B.
That's a cheerleader. That's a cheerleader. She lost me after B.
So, I mean, that's the thing, is that, like, this game, like, literally it moves so fast for me, I can't pay attention to anything except for the action.
That's actually,
It's kind of like when I go to a musical, or if you go to a play or something that's in a foreign language, and they've got the subtitles.
Oh my God, on the screen above the stage.
But, like, I'm like, I can't pay attention to the subtitles and the screen. I can't do the subtitles and the play.
Right.
Or, like, I went to a couple, we went to Avenue Q when it was in town, eons ago. The puppets are so small that you can't really watch it on the stage if you are in the cheap seats like we were.
Yeah.
And we were pooling our money together to get the binoculars.
Aww.
So we were passing the binoculars up and down. But they had, like, Jumbotrons showing some of the action of the stage. And I was like, do I watch the Jumbotron?
Do I
or watch all the action?
Right.
Jumbotron, all the action. And that's how I feel at a basketball game.
I can see that because even, like, the last one I went to, which was against the Spurs. Like, even when you're there at the game, you're like, do I watch the Jumbotron above me or do I watch the game? Do I watch the Jumbotron or do I watch the game? It's really weird to have your attention split like that.
Do I watch the game or do I watch all the other stuff going on around it?
Exactly.
Like, I don't have the ability to watch the game and also pay attention to what the coach is trying to do on the sideline.
Mm-hmm.
It just doesn't work
Or
for
the
me.
cheerleaders that are sitting right in front of you.
Well, and the thing is that, like, I won't pay attention to the cheerleaders, to be honest. But, like, when you're watching at home, they decide what you're paying attention to.
That's true.
And that's fabulous. When you're there, I can't.
It's just
watch
activity.
But at the same time, like, I don't know that I've ever paid attention on TV as a play is going on to the fact that there's somebody from a team standing in front of the score table.
Yeah.
And I don't know that I've ever paid attention to it, but in case you happen to notice it, or now that we've mentioned it, you will pay attention to it.
Of course, because you'll see it.
When you see a member of a team standing like in front of the score table or near the score table in a particular area, there are what they call substitution boxes.
Yeah.
They're not like the hockey penalty boxes where they're a physical box. They're not even necessarily painted on the
right.
court.
It's just this, like, understood
it's just,
area.
Like, the understood area where if a coach wants to substitute a player, they put somebody in.
Mm-hmm.
And that person stands in that substitution area. And then the next time the play comes to stop, the players know we need to substitute out.
Exactly. Because it's like an unwritten, like, tell to the table and to the referee. It's like, hey, we're getting ready to change players. Right? You got to be ready with that mic.
Wasn't ready. He wasn't ready for that one.
Ding yourself, sir.
That's correct.
Ding yourself. There you go.
Oh, that was such a weak ding.
It's because he was dinging himself. There you go. You earned that.
Repeat the question again. I'm sorry.
I said, so that's like when they're standing there in the substitution box, it's like an unspoken, hey, I'm getting ready to switch out players, right? They don't have to notify somebody.
Right. After they checked in at the scorer's table.
Oh, so they check in first.
Yeah, they check in at the scorer's table.
Ah, that makes sense because you got to know who's going on the court.
If it's
and the scorers, like, they take care of the official stats and stuff, so they have to know who's substituting for who during how many minutes and whatever.
Okay.
Right, but they have to wait for like a dead
stop.
ball foul.
A
Like,
stop
Okay.
play.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
But so other common things you might hear.
Yes,
You had a list of them at
I
one
did.
point. So do you remember any of them?
I'm pulling up my notes. Okay, yes, I did. So, all right. My brain is drawing a blank.
I was gonna say, which one do you want to go to?
Let's go to like common plays, because I know that was a big one for me. So, I know these are the ones I've heard of.
So I actually didn't get to these some of the plays
Okay, we'll
With-
table that.
with the research, although there are some that I do know. But like there are certain sayings that the broadcasters use a lot.
Okay, let's go there.
So
I don't remember anything
you
that I
don't
wrote
remember
down.
any of the things. She can't read her notes.
I just started scribbling, and that's what happened. So one of the ones I do see that's on here is triple double and double double.
Okay, so those are the common plays, and I'm certain that we can touch back on them, and Eli will happily jump in with more definition for them. Simple definition, Eli, when we get there. Simple.
Keep it under control.
Okay. So you had been talking about the post and posting up and hitting the post.
Yes.
Okay. So this is when your power forward and your center will go to quote the post.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. There are certain positions in the key that are called post positions.
Okay.
And so when you have a power forward or a center, usually, occasionally it's one of the other players, will go and stand at that post position
Oh.
as a signal to the point guard that, hey,
I'm here.
I'm here, feed me the ball.
Ah, okay.
And so they get the ball passed to them, and then they make a shot from the post.
Got it. Okay.
So imagine you had a power forward at the post, right?
Mm-hmm.
But you got a shooting guard who's like 6'6", trying to check a 6'10" guy, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the point guard might see the power forward in the post.
Right.
The power forward hold his hands up
Okay.
and say, "Hey, give me the ball. Give me the ball. I got a mouse in the house."
Here you go.
Sorry, it tripped out. So, I mean, it's easy. It's an easy layup or a score or a dunk.
Okay. So essentially, it's just like, hey, I'm here. I'm about to drive this. I'm about to
Right.
drive this home.
Right.
Right.
Okay.
Like I'm in a position, especially when you're talking about your center
Yeah.
and him
So that's
being,
when you see
you
people
know-
flying because this big man is like right here and he's got the ball and he's in somebody's face about to get it in. Okay.
Right. He might be able to dunk. He's not necessarily going to be running.
Yeah.
Usually he's at the low post, which is the closer one
Right.
to the basket. So if they feed it to him, he's literally just going to jump up and
Doop.
So Shaq was known for dunking on people
In the post.
In the post.
Okay.
He's not doing the flying leaping thing.
Right.
Not doing
He
the,
was-
the Jordan,
yeah.
Superman thing, jumping over people.
Exactly.
Yeah, so he would literally shake, give him a little shake, or spin,
And
you know,
because
And then he'd be-
because of how
Right.
tall he is, he literally just has to take a small jump.
Right.
Yeah, he
doesn't
just
have
goes
to,
with the-
he doesn't have to get the run.
I'm not going to even mention the Hakeem Olajuwon Dream Shake. So that's for another show.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Come on now.
yeah.
Mute your mic. Thank you.
Okay.
The shot clock,
Yes.
because that was in my notes.
So I actually recently found out that in the state of Ohio, high school basketball doesn't have a shot clock.
We don't? What?
No,
I
they're
thought that
talking
was
about-
just standard across the
They're
board.
talking about changing the rule to instate a shot clock, but it's actually highly controversial
Really?
because smaller schools count on not having a shot clock because they can keep the ball moving and they can hold possession longer
Oh.
and just wear out
The-
other teams.
Okay, there's a strategy in that. I can see that.
And
I'm just going to
so-
burn you out.
Right now that they're talking about instating a shot clock
Mhm.
and it benefits the larger schools, the larger teams.
and it speeds up the game. And it speeds up the game.
He was so excited about talking, he forgot to turn on his mic. So, that was something very interesting to me, is find out, because again, though I was a cheerleader in high school, I didn't pay enough attention.
Yeah.
I knew that there was a clock, but I never paid attention to the fact that the only clock running was the actual quarter clock.
Yeah, the game clock.
To tell you when we were to halftime and we needed to go out there and do our thing.
How much longer do I have in this game if I can go home?
So, shot clock in the NBA is a 24-second clock.
So that's how long you have during your possession to shoot, whether you make it or not.
It starts as soon as you gain possession of the ball wherever you are on the
So
court.
even on a turnover?
On a turnover, on a stolen ball.
Oh.
So a throw in, it starts as soon as that guy catches the ball.
Okay.
Okay. With the with like a stolen ball,
Mm-hmm.
as soon as the defensive player that stole the ball takes control of it, has control,
Right.
and becomes an offensive player, is moving forward with it, that's when the clock
Right.
starts.
So that clock can keep bouncing back to 24
Yeah,
seconds.
yeah.
Real quick.
Oh, I never noticed that. I thought it
But-
was like until somebody made a shot almost.
Have
Or
you
it was
ever-
just 24 seconds.
It's 24 seconds when the offensive team has possession. As soon as a defensive player steals the ball or the ball goes out of bounds or whatever, that clock changes back.
Okay.
And it won't restart again until
The ball's in
the
play.
ball is in play if it has gone out of bounds,
Right.
or until the defense player. It's almost like in football when like makes a football move. As soon as he takes control, because like you can steal it
Yeah.
and not have control of it.
And then it goes out of bounds or
Right.
whatever.
Oh.
So if you take it and you've got like 2 dribbles,
Then it.
then
okay.
yeah.
Also, I was going to mention, say for instance, I'm shooting the shot and it's like 2 seconds or 1 second down on the shot clock.
Mm-hmm.
If I miss the shot and it hits the rim and my teammate rebounds the ball, it automatically resets.
Oh, so even if it leaves, so it's still the same team, but the possession has left the player's hands. So therefore, or the ball's left the player's
Well,
hand.
because at that point it's a free ball.
It's a
once
free
it doesn't
ball,
go in.
right.
Ah.
Whichever team grabs it gets a new clock.
Right.
Got it. Makes sense. Okay.
Um,
Wow, I never knew the shot clock
Same
was so
thing
involved.
happens like if the ball goes out of bounds, but the offensive team was the last team to touch it.
Yeah,
The clock stops and restarts when they throw it back in.
got it. And speaking of throw-in, that is called a throw-in, right?
Right. So that point where you see the guy at the end of the court or
Mhm.
on the sideline, and he's just holding the ball, and the guy's outside. There's another guy, standing across from him,
Yeah.
across the line, and usually that guy just on the inside is like looking over his shoulder, because generally speaking, there's usually a defensive player behind
Standing right
you.
there.
Sometimes not too close, but generally speaking, and you'll see them throw the ball in, and then that guy just inside the court just pivots.
Yeah.
Usually trying to figure
Quick
out which
question.
way to go.
Quick question. Okay, if I'm throwing the ball in, how many seconds do I have to get it in?
Yeah, because you can't stand there indefinitely. I would say 8.
5 seconds.
I was gonna say,
Oh.
I think it was a little bit lower than that, but I know that there's a shot clock for your free throws as well.
Mm-hmm.
You get 10
Oh,
seconds.
so you can't just be standing there forever dribbling, trying to think out.
You get
I
10
mean, that makes
seconds.
sense.
Right.
That makes sense.
10 seconds for each shot.
There's a lot of clocks. I'd say that.
There's a lot of clock time.
Yeah.
I mean, that's really what it is.
Isn't there a smaller clock underneath the shot clock, or is my brain mixing that up?
That used to be the shot clock. I mean, honestly, it can sit on the floor or it can sit on top of
It can be any
it can
place.
be in
Oh,
any
okay.
place.
So, like, a lot of NBA courts, it's now kind of like right behind the clear basket.
Right.
clear
Yeah.
Boards.
Okay.
So that you can see it through
Right.
the backboard.
But back in the day, it used to be on the floor.
Really?
Way back when it was on the floor. It was actually almost like they took the clocks from like wrestling matches
And put them down
put
on the
'em
floor. That's what I'm picturing in my head. I mean, I know it's above the scoreboard, but yeah, that's what I picture in my head too. 'Cause in my high school, that's how it was.
Yeah.
It was on
So
the floor.
that's how it was with like the YMCA leagues. And
Yeah.
usually travel leagues are like that if they don't have access to the official scoreboards for the schools.
Yeah.
Because not all the schools will let you into the electronics.
Makes sense.
So
If you break it.
but that shot clock now, like half the time I see it, you can if you're looking at it as a player, so they have like camera angles that are more player-like.
Yeah.
If you're looking at the backboard, you can actually see it through the square of the backboard.
I mean, that makes sense because, I mean, I can't
It's, like,
imagine
framed
being a
up.
player and it's not, like, in my line of vision.
Except, players still make mistakes. Sorry, J.R. Smith.
Yeah. I mean, it's the most obvious one.
Players still make mistakes.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, they get slammed for it. Sorry,
They're
Eli.
human.
I didn't mean to hurt you.
They're human. They're human.
Which also we never got around to how do we start the game?
Yes, because, that's kind of important. So we said it was like the puck drop in hockey, but this
Right.
one is called a tip-off. So you have a throw-in. No, I'm sorry. I get it confused with a jump-off.
The jump ball.
But this one is called a tip-off. There's a jump ball and a tip-off.
Right. And for most of us,
And I thought it was all
playing,
one and the
like,
same.
Playing playground ball, we just, everything was a jump ball.
True story.
But that's because you didn't have a referee.
Yeah.
When you're playing no blood, no foul, it's a little different.
Playing street ball, whatever. So the tip-off is how they start the game. That's at the center court.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. That's when the referee tosses the ball up. And who's at the center?
So it is I want to say it's the point.
Who's at the center?
Yeah, who's actually going for the jump ball? Is it specific positions that have to be there?
Actually,
It's your point guard?
either your center,
Okay.
or the other team's center, or power forward.
Oh,
Okay,
so what's
so
one of
it's
the
the
two
tall
big
guys.
ones?
Right.
Which makes sense.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
I just always thought of it as being the point just because, like, you would think that you would want your, quote, best player
Right.
To be at right.
at the tip-off. But it makes a lot of sense to have your tallest player trying to jump. And what they're trying to do, the referee throws the ball up,
Right.
and it's almost volleyball-ish,
It is.
where the guys are on either side of the line, and they throw the ball up in the center, and the guys are trying to, like, basically bat the ball towards their team.
Okay. That's the only time you can bat a ball.
Yeah, I mean, it really is, and it looks very much like a serve in volleyball
It does.
because of
I
the way
never
they're
put-
jumping and trying to hit.
I never compared those two, but that is very true. It does look like a volleyball serve.
Or when you're trying to, like, block the net in volleyball and
Yeah.
spike the ball. It's very much like that.
And it's one-handed, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Got it. So, okay, we talked about, so what's a jump ball in comparison to a tip-off?
So jump balls will happen after certain types of penalties, from what I could read.
Okay.
Now, Eli might be telling me something different.
Normally, when you have a jump ball, is when two defenders are entangled trying to get possession of the ball on the floor. So the
So
ref
it hasn't gone out of bounds.
So the ref would say, jump ball, and they'll just do it right there. Between the two players that actually tried to get the ball.
So to simplify
Okay.
this,
Yes.
you're dribbling, right? And you're moving down the court. And you've got tangled up with somebody who's trying to steal the ball from you.
Yeah.
The dribble has basically died,
Oh.
and you both are grabbing for it before it can go out of bounds or before it can be declared a dead ball.
Right.
So what's a dead ball?
A dead ball is when you stop dribbling, when it just stops dribbling in the middle of the court. So, like, if you've lost the ball, somebody tried to steal it, and the steal didn't go, but you still don't have control over it, and it just kind of,
Flops to the ground.
Yeah.
So if you can avoid a jump ball if like just one thing. If one
grabs it.
person grabs it and you just call a timeout, it's your ball.
Oh.
But if two people get it at the same time, or
Right.
if you're tangled up and that's the reason the ball died, is
Yeah.
because it's like tangled in between you.
So they can't figure out whose possession it is, essentially.
Right.
And it takes place at wherever that happened at. So, and same thing, like if it's a dead ball, wherever that ball became dead is where they do the jump off at.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I never knew the name for it. And I was always like, why is it randomly happening? Why are they randomly doing this again? Didn't they do this at the beginning of the game? I don't understand.
So now the only other thing I wanted to talk about before we get into some of the special plays that I kind of understand but kind of don't. And these special plays, they're also stat lines, just to let you know. So some of them are just like literally you hear it because this person got so much, blah, 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 and it's a stat line. But before we get there, we should talk about flopping and fouling out.
Yes. Because it's always trippy to me. I know you can get 5 fouls, right? Before you foul out of the game, which means you're done.
So unlike most sports, almost all of the penalties and fouls in basketball
Mhm.
are personal fouls.
What does that mean? Like it's
Meaning it's not on you, not the team.
Okay. Okay.
And so that's why they have a foul count.
Got it.
I mean, in hockey, they just put you in a penalty box. They don't, unless you have really egregious fouls, they're not necessarily counting them.
Right.
But basketball doesn't have a penalty box. So they just literally say you get to have 5 of these before you have to go and sit on the bench the rest of the game.
Gotcha.
Right.
So that's fouling out.
Okay.
Now they can tag you with an egregious foul, and I don't know exactly how it works, but I've seen it where like if you've got a foul that's just bad enough, like you hauled off and hit somebody,
Right. You're
they
out.
can just
It's a
eject you.
flagrant.
Flagrant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
That was like that's what the real term because I
So-
couldn't think of what it was, so I couldn't look it up.
Right.
So it's a flagrant 1 and a flagrant 2.
Oh, there's levels of how.
Yes.
How egregious it is.
Right. It depends. Yeah, depends on how extreme it is.
So
you
punching somebody in the face would be
a flagrant 2. That's ejection.
what's a flagrant? Like what would classify as a flagrant one?
So flagrant 1 would be if I'm a defender and I'm coming to the hole and I come down with my elbow but not on purpose. That's considered a flagrant 1.
Oh.
That's
Like you land on somebody with your elbow.
right. That's the team.
But if you do a flying elbow like you're in the WWE,
Right.
then it's a flagrant
with
2.
with the flagrant 1.
I'm sorry, I just killed Gina.
I'm just picturing the people's elbow in the middle of a basketball game.
So with the flagrant 1, that's the team gets possession of the ball and a free throw.
Okay.
Same thing with the flagrant 2, but that player who did the foul, that's automatic ejection.
So he's out. They get the ball and a shot.
Right.
Okay.
So that brings up flopping, though.
Yes.
So you'll hear them talk about flopping all the time. Flopping is something fairly unique to basketball, although there are some claims of it happening in football, where like you see something where like somebody taps somebody in football and they like
Go
fall
flying
over.
across the.
And you're like, how did he fall from that?
Right.
But in basketball, there are lots of things because you're in the air more.
Right.
There are lots of things where people, especially when they're going up against a bigger opponent, will make a small shove look like something very, very big, and all of a sudden they're flat out on the floor.
Right.
Or they're like sliding across the court.
Yeah, and usually they fall out on the floor, and they either make it like they are hurt enough they can't really get up, or not right away anyways, or they immediately sit up and they're like,
You didn't see that, ref? You didn't call that?
like when you see them making the hand signals and you can't necessarily hear what they're saying because of the crowd noise, but you can hear them screaming something
Right.
and pointing at different players, and it's all like trying to convince the ref to
This
give
bad thing
them
happened
the
to
foul.
me. Right.
When LeBron was here, we had a lot of people who would flop against him, and he could actually never get any calls. Like he would legitimately have something that could have been called, but because he's such a big dominant player,
Yeah.
he didn't get a lot of calls.
I
going
bet that
his way.
happened. That mostly happens to the power forwards and centers, doesn't it? Where people flop on them. How hard is it for a ref to call that?
And I'm going to assume that like your point is probably or your small forward is like usually the one who's like flopping a lot.
Yeah.
I mean,
So-
as a ref, it's tough to actually call, flopping or whatnot. It's,
Right.
Yeah. It's
So
a pretty
flopping
tough
isn't
call.
necessarily an actual like game thing, but it's what the commentators will use.
Okay.
I mean, there is a flopping call, but you almost never hear them call it that.
Right.
The commentators would be like, "Well, he's obviously flopping."
Yeah,
Right.
It's a nice acting job.
Right.
Okay. Gotcha. So essentially, you're just trying to be dramatic.
Yes.
Let me make this thing that never really happened the most serious thing ever that happened.
And it's called flopping because, like, sometimes, and the first generation of this was way worse about it. They literally looked like they were flopping around on the ground like fish.
What? Really?
Yeah.
Okay, even that's a bit much for me. Like, I feel like I would never make that call.
They would, like, fall out and they'd be like, "Ugh."
Like they're having a seizure. Oh my goodness.
Like they like bounce a little bit and
You're
stuff.
not even trying at that point.
Like,
at
dude,
least
your behind doesn't bounce that well.
exactly. Jeez Louise.
But
Okay.
anyways, okay, so let's get into the point where we need Dr. Eli to help us out a little bit.
Yes. Here's your expertise moment. All right.
Okay,
so
so
we'll
we'll
go
keep
into
it-
the big ones.
Yeah, we'll keep it really simple. So the ones that are stat lines that you hear a lot are triple-double and double-double.
Go.
Let's dissect the double-double. Point. You can have like 20 points and 10 rebounds. That's a double-double.
So it's a double digit in those areas.
Right. So a triple-double is mainly done by a point guard or a shooting guard or small forward, but mainly a point guard. So it's points, assists, and steals or rebounds.
So if you get a triple, if you get a double digit score,
right. So
in any of those categories,
right. So a triple-double, 20 points, 10 rebounds, and 10 assists.
Okay. Could you have 10 steals instead of 10 assists?
Yeah.
Okay.
Then it's a quadruple double, which David Robinson did back in the day.
If you get like something from all of those extra categories,
Right.
it just
20
keeps adding
points,
on.
10 rebounds,
Oh, got it.
10 steals, or like 10 blocks.
Oh, okay. So it's not okay. So any double digit score,
Right.
Right.
it
in
equals
any of
up.
those categories,
Two
would be a
or
triple,
more.
Right.
And if you get more, yeah.
Okay. Oh, now we start getting into like multiples.
Yeah. Okay. So, pick and roll.
Because I don't know about that. So you're going to have to totally take
I
that.
really can't explain the pick and roll. I mean, basically, you have the center coming up and mainly putting a block on the other defender. So, the point guard goes around, and then the center just slips past him. The point guard throws the lob, and he dunks it in. Like, basically, it's a pick and roll.
Okay, so that's a very assisted play. So
Okay.
Right.
you have somebody creating a screen.
Yes.
Right.
The play goes around the screen. The screening player comes back to the basket
Okay.
in order to help assist that shot go in by dunking
Right.
it.
Got it. Okay.
Okay.
You guys are a good team. You want to do this show with her? I'll take next week off.
Okay, fast break.
Basically, a fast break is when you basically it's a say for instance I shoot the ball right and I miss it, so it's the other team rebounds the ball
Yeah.
and they just runs real fast down the court. If it's like if your defense is not set to defend that play, it could be like a 3-on-4 fast break or something. So, they have an opportunity to score the
So
basket.
you just get down there real
right,
fast
fast
Right.
break.
before the other team can be ready to
Usually-
defend.
And I will say, usually you're seeing like the centers, the big guys, getting winded
Right.
at that point of the game where they're like, I am so exhausted. So they're not moving down the court as fast as all the other players. And you can have your little guys just like bam, and they take off, and they might not get everybody lined up.
Usually, it's your power forward and your shooting guard and your small forward doing the
fast breaks.
Fast break.
Okay, and you know what the sad part is? It's literally in the name. They're just breaking away real fast before everything can get lined up to put on a true
Right,
defense.
it's an easy bucket.
Yeah.
Okay, got it. All right.
So I think actually, check on time, Eli.
Yeah, that's a lot to take in. I think we're good for now.
We got about 53. 53.
Okay, so I think we're good. I mean, I don't want to. I'm afraid that if we do too much more, we're going to wind up going over.
I'm afraid that if we do too much more, my brain won't be able to compact it all. Because this is a lot. Like
Is your brain about to bubble out your ear?
a little bit. Only because there is so much to it. Like, I knew some stuff, but I didn't know the details and the specifics of how they all play together. But that's why I like doing this, because it gives me those examples of how they relate to one another. And,
Well, and it's so weird because you're like the more visual person.
I am such a visual person.
And you like are picturing all this, whereas I'm sitting here like I literally would not be able to follow any of this while watching it. But now I know what these things are called.
Yeah. That's why we're the perfect we're the yin to the yang, man. Yin to the yang.
So we want to thank you all for joining us today.
Yes. Should I go
for-
down the contact list? for anybody who has additional questions. Did we miss something? Do you have an even better way to explain what these things are? You can contact us in all sorts of ways. I mean, it's a menagerie of contactability. That's not a word. You can hit us up on Facebook at Wait What Sports. Yeah, I kind of deserve that. You can hit us up at Facebook, Wait What Sports, Twitter at Wait WW Sports 22, at Instagram, Wait _what_ sports, as well as so difficult to say that. I swear, every time. And then you can also hit us up on our Gmail, www.sports22 at gmail.com. So please reach out to us with questions. Just how do you like the show so far? Are there things we can do different? Are there things you would like to see? Are there topics you would like to cover in the future? Let us know. This is your show.
And any way that you choose to contact us, we do ask you to please be respectful.
Please. There is a level of decorum, people. All right? Your constructive criticism is nice when it's handled properly. All right? So, on behalf of myself, on behalf of Amy, and Dr. Eli on the board.
Yes.
Oh, gosh. We thank you so much for tuning in, and we will see you next time where we will be getting into baseball again with our whole episode on pitchers, because pitchers are an involved, it's a complicated position. I'll say that. There's a lot to it, and I'm going to get my brain ready in advance. So have a wonderful week, guys, and we will see you on the next one.